This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Empty Chair Exposing Addiction. As always, we thank all of our volunteers and remind you that we have quite a few episodes, over 20 of them on YouTube. Search The Empty Chair Show and you can get caught up and, maybe help us spread the awareness of what's going on. My daughter's not here tonight. She had a prior commitment, so we're going to let her off the hook again. But one of the things I really like about this show is all the years I've been dealing with this, I always learn something so new. And tonight, we're going to learn about another type of recovery method that may not be as conventional or well known, but you want to know something? If it works, I'm all for it. So what I have a guest here tonight is I have Dr. Greg LaBranch, and I have Trevor, and Dr. LaBranch kind of runs a program, and Trevor is one of the success stories.
Yep.
So, Doc, why don't you just tell us a little something about what Smart Recovery is and how it differs from the conventional recovery treatment?
Smart Recovery, when you say conventional, I'm guessing you're referring to the 12-step model.
Yeah, exactly.
There isn't a whole big difference between the two. They're both based on self-help groups. Mm-hmm. A lot of the foundation for Smart Recovery is based on cognitive behavioral psychology. And the 12-step model tends to lean more towards a psychoanalytical type of psychology. Right. But Smart Recovery has the same type of setup where you come into the groups. It's a nonprofit 501c3. And there's no fee to go to the meetings or anything. Mm-hmm. They're a lot fewer and far between. They're hard to get a hold of. Yeah. You got to think about the 12-step model's been around for like 70, 80 years versus Smart Recovery, which is 15 to 20 years.
Okay, well, people that might be interested, where are you guys out of?
I facilitate a group on Tuesday nights at Middlesex Community College in Lowell.
Okay.
That's room 211 from 6:30 till 8 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And Trevor is coming.
I'm starting to facilitate the Thursday night meetings.
Good for you.
And that's in Dracut on Bridge Street, the Wendy's that's on Bridge Street, the church that's right across the street.
Yeah.
And that's on Thursdays at 7 o'clock.
See, I'm a little familiar because I do drive a bus in Lowell now.
Oh, come and sit in. You're welcome to.
But now, Trevor, you're only a young guy.
Yep, I'm 22. I'm going to be 7 months clean soon. I started using opiates when I was about 17. Okay. I started really young, so I think that made it even harder for me. I started using intravenously at age 18 or 19, mm-hmm. and now I'm clean. Now I'm 22 and never felt better.
Now, you've tried the form of recovery you're in here, the Smart. Mm-hmm. Had you tried other methods prior to that?
I have. Back in the September before last, I was sectioned. So I went to Section 35. So I got locked up and I went to Men's Addiction Treatment Center in Brockton. Okay. And that's a lockdown facility I was there for about a month. Mm-hmm. And it really helped. And as soon as I got out, like I followed what they told me to do. Like I went to a meeting, and it didn't work out that time around. I mean, I couldn't really put my finger on what it was, but I maybe went on an 8-month run after that. And after that, I got back in touch with Greg because I've known him formally from the SOAP program, mm-hmm. and been great ever since.
So that's what led you in, because Lowell mm-hmm. does have a SOAP program. Apparently you're involved with that, Doc?
I was facilitating Smart Recovery meetings for the SOAP program when I first met Trevor. Right. Basically what happened for me was I got sober in '97. I decided to go back to school as part of my recovery process. Was enjoying it, got my bachelor's, finished it up, went on to my master's, and I was just kind of enjoying my sobriety and academics and such, and then I thought, geez, I have to pay back my loans if I stop now, so I should keep going, and I kept going to earn my doctorate and graduated in 2011. But my research involved looking at the 12-step model self-help groups and the Smart Recovery model, the cognitive behavioral self-help groups. And I basically called my dissertation the spiritually based versus non-spiritually based treatment methods. They're self-help groups, they're really aftercare is what I called it. But in doing that, I met a lot of different people, and I formed my own business, my own practice for treating addiction or addiction remission. And in the interim, I've met lots of different people, and Trevor's cousin was actually one of my clients, which kind of curtailed into him. He met me at the SOAP program, the Lowell House. And then after, I guess, I don't know exactly how it happened with SOAP, didn't work out for you, but...
Yeah, and I couldn't really put my finger on it either, but I mean, about 8 months later or so, I was at a cookout at my cousin's house, and I was like, Greg, what's up? Like, he just showed up.
I had some of our clients were doing a little exercise in the afternoons at a swimming pool, and he was there as well, and he needed some help.
Yeah. So why do you suppose this type is working for you? I mean, what made
See, one of the
this-
things that's important, Phil, is I got to make clear that my program, the ARMOR program, is separate from Smart Recovery. I represent Smart Recovery in the sense that I'm a volunteer facilitator for the organization, and I do a couple of sessions a night. Trevor came through an intensive outpatient program with me at my office.
Outpatient?
Yes.
Okay.
But well, because he had done the residential piece, and he was only a little ways out from.
When you say residential, when you got sectioned for, that was your only...
Yeah, that was my only...
Who sectioned you, your parents?
Yeah, my
Aren't
father.
they stinkers, huh?
No, actually, like, at first, like, I was in the courtroom behind the
Folks,
plastic.
just so you know, and you may not know, when someone gets sectioned, Section 35, that's when the parents go down to the courthouse and, if possible, tell the judge things that are even worse than what they are.
That happens a lot,
So
yeah.
that he won't be able to talk to the judge and not sectioning them. So what it is we lie a little bit better than the kid in this time. And that's what happens with it. The only case we have in Massachusetts where it's involuntary treatment. So, all right, so you got sectioned.
Yeah, I mean, I was like all shackled up, and I was behind the plastic, and my dad was sitting in the courtroom, and I was just like mouthing swears at him, like, and stuff. But like, and he just I felt so bad, like looking back on it, like months later. But then maybe 2 weeks went by in the program I was in the in Men's Addiction Treatment Center, and I called him and I thanked him. Like I couldn't have been more grateful.
Yeah, because actually I know, like I say, I run a family support group, and we've had some of those nasty parents do the same thing. And not all the time, but in many cases they do have a little change of attitude once the cobwebs clear up.
It was really necessary, so I'm glad he did it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
May have saved your life.
Without a doubt.
Probably one of the things that make a difference is the way the system operates now is you go in for treatment, hospitalization, like our two friends over here. They release you after a week, 2 weeks, maybe even get a 30-day worth of treatment. But there's no process or treatment to desensitize these folks from the security of the structured, drug-free environment that they're in during the residential piece. So then they come from there and they go smack dab into all of the cues and triggers that have been developed over the years of use. Mom's voice, favorite smells of best cooked meals, the home cooked meals, the bedroom, the paint on the walls. All these things are triggers that say, use. They're familiar to the addiction. They're part of the addiction. Took this all on as
Okay,
part
great.
of it.
All right. Now, and by the way, off camera, Greg has a couple of newbies. Yes. And now let's kind of use them as an example. Now they've just come out of a detox.
Right.
Now you get them. What do?
We want to minimize the amount of exposure they have to the familiar surroundings that they were involved with while using.
But now this is an outpatient.
Right.
Okay.
So it's risky.
Yeah.
They have the safe haven of the school, of the office, I mean.
Right.
They have the safe haven of a couple other places where we might frequent, and there's no drug activity going on and such. And then little by little they start. Like I like to, if they were in the residential with my program, take away their phones. In fact, all they really need is a white suit for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Bring the phone back a few days later. Bring the wallet in a few days later. Bring the car back a few days after that. Bring mom and dad back into the picture a week or two after that. Bring the home-cooked meals and visits to home a couple of weeks
Yeah.
after. It's a desensitizing instead of
Okay.
hitting all at once.
All right, so let me tell you, again, these poor girls are off camera, so you're lucky anyway. Flip 'em around. Now they're coming in. Now, how often are
We
you...
work together daily, 6 days a week.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty intense. We hang out from 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the
Well,
afternoon.
that's almost the equivalent of being
An
inside.
intensive outpatient program.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's not, because they go out for cigarettes, they
Yeah.
have their phones,
Yeah.
they're interacting. And,
Now, other than with you, do they have groups?
we sometimes will go to AA meetings.
Okay.
I mean, 12-step model meetings, the different types. We'll do a couple of meetings I really like, have really nice sandwiches, and that's why we go there for lunch. But or we'll do a smart recovery meeting Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and I
Okay.
encourage my clients to do this.
Okay,
And we have
so
our
this-
own self-help.
So this isn't just like them coming down to see you once or twice a week to tell you how you're doing?
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Okay, good. I'm so glad. This is probably going to be kind of a tough question, but I have to ask it because of all the other people that come in, be it methadone or whatever. How successful do you think your program is?
Geez, I'm pretty successful right now, but I'm also cheating in the sense that in 2011, when I graduated, it took about 6 months to recoup from what they put you through to get your doctorate. Then I started working with a gentleman who was actually attending SMART.
Yeah.
And he was tripping and falling, but he wasn't admitting to it in the group. And then he ended up in the hospital, told the hospital, I want Dr. LaBranch to be in. So I got involved with my first patient, Leo, and he did well. He's 3 years sober now, 4 years sober now. Since I opened, he was one of my first clients. He stayed sober since. Then I had a couple more alcoholics. Then I started having heroin addicts. And I want to say I've probably come close to a couple dozen, and good 80% of them are doing well today and abstaining
feeling,
from
huh?
their
Good
addictions. Yeah, it is. But it's trying because then I get the new ones, so I don't get to revel in the rewards of
Exactly, yeah.
accomplishment. There's new ones right at the door.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're always going
Yeah.
to have a booming business, I'm afraid.
Well, I wish that was the case.
But I mean,
But there is certainly a
yeah, I mean, I don't see
demand.
it slowing down. If anything, just, all right, Trevor, your mom and dad now, how are things with them?
Things are going good. I talk more with my mother than I do my father, but I've gotten...
Dads can be hard,
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten a lot of trust back.
Yeah.
Just my mom, sometimes she'll say some stuff that's, I mean, my mother isn't an addict, so I don't expect her to understand, like, what triggers me and what doesn't, but sometimes she'll say things like, she'll just refer to things that I did in the past, and for example, like, and it just, it's so triggering, and like, she doesn't understand. She's like, why are you getting mad? Why are you getting mad? Because you're triggering me like crazy right now. And
Well,
being in Greg's program, like, actually trained me to identify the triggers and
The
get
other
rid of them.
thing that
Not get rid of them, but
a
deal
lot
with
of
them.
times they're not so fully aware of is I have a family systems approach to the protocol that I offer with my services as well. And I work with the clients individually, one-on-one, for a few weeks. But then mom or dad, we form a treatment team. It's not just me, it's not just the client. It's the substance abuse counselor, the psychiatrist, primary care physician, mom and dad if possible. Sometimes there's, we create a lot of damage in our addiction to our parents. They're as damaged as we are, just in a different way because of our behaviors and actions, when we're actively addicted. So I end up working quite a bit, and I've spent
Well, yeah.
many hours with Mom
Yeah.
and
Well,
Trevor, teaching her and helping her understand exactly how this
and
works.
being the parent of an addict and running a family support group for about 9 years now, parents are the worst. They are the worst. That's why I have them in my group.
Yeah.
So that they won't poison the ones that are
They
working so
really
hard.
love their children.
They
though,
do.
you know.
But you want to know something? I mean, if you do anything, parents see a red flag go up, okay? That's parents. My daughter, especially like the first year of her recovery when, you know, if something didn't go wrong with her, something went wrong with her, and I thought maybe, and she got to the point where she had this great sponsor who was fantastic. Is no longer with us, unfortunately. But my daughter would say, look, call my sponsor. Don't talk to me no more. Now, I'm lucky that she allowed me to do that. Do you have a sponsor?
I do the same thing with Greg. When
okay.
I'm like, call Greg, call Greg. Like,
Yeah.
don't talk to me about it. I don't know. Call Greg. Like,
You know, I tell my parents, when their kids are using, don't take it personal because it is a disease and so forth. So I guess I got to tell the recovering addicts, don't take it personal. Your parents are crazy.
Like I made
Right.
them like this. Like I have to think about it too sometimes. Like
Yeah.
I made them have this reaction because that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah. You're right. I don't think a parent can ever put themselves in the place of an addict, but I'll guarantee you an addict can never put themselves in the place of a parent because they're the same but different. But so now you're going to facilitate your own meetings?
Yeah. I started the online.
Is he ready, Greg?
Yes, he is. They bring
Okay.
him through some training. He does some online training
Yeah.
with the
I just
with
started the online
organization.
courses and stuff. I'm filling in. Another facilitator for Smart passed away, so I figured I'd at least keep the group going until I finish the class online and I actually
Great.
have the facilitator certificate. But I mean, they would have just closed it, or they would have had someone else go in that nobody in the area knows.
What we had was a gentleman who was an offshoot from my Tuesday night meetings, and the empty chair could actually be for him tonight, Matt. He passed away in his sleep. We can't say it wasn't drug related, but it wasn't active addiction related. He was in remission from his addiction, but he had torn his body up pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
But he had just started this group, and his heart and soul was into this whole concept of helping others because he appreciated getting sober himself. And he actually did a SMART meeting down at the SOAP program, Lowell House as well, for a little while. And so we just kind of felt like we didn't want to see him, it's his, it's a tribute to him.
Yeah.
Keep his meeting alive. So
Wonderful.
Trevor, the reason that I found Trevor to be a good recruit out of my recent candidates available, because I have a half a dozen or so that are in this 6 month plus. But he really was able to grasp the concept of looking at our thinking processes and how we can change the way we see things. He's able to identify with that more so than most of my other clients.
Okay, so how do people find out about your program itself? Is it through the Lowell Soap? Or?
That's part of the problem.
No, I'm so new. I haven't had a chance to even really start marketing. I did I have a website, treatingaddiction.com.
Okay.
And I put that in with the yellow pages, and I started to, but it's like, I'm either focused on working with my clients or I'm focused on the
That's the name of your website, treatingaddiction.com?
Yes.
And I'm sure the girls will put that up under the screen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it'll be there when we show it in Methuen, but when it goes on YouTube, it'll be seen. Because, anything we can do, all right, to make people aware of any kind of recovery treatment that's available, we'll do
The
our
downside with my program is it's private pay. I didn't want to get involved with the insurance companies. Part of this, now a lot of people want to say, oh, the system's broken, but the system's made up of several other systems, and the insurance companies are playing a big, big role in this, and I would look through your different shows, and maybe you could get us some insurance representatives in here to talk about how their role, like with
Well-
Suboxone and the, because the doctors, their hands are getting tied.
Yeah.
The primary care physicians are afraid to write. A lot of these kids in early remission, they need anti-anxiety type medication.
Well,
Who
let-
wants to write something for an addict?
Well, see, you're talking about health insurance. What we do have, there's a community group that I'm also a part of. I got to throw a plug, Merrimack Valley Prevention and Substance Abuse Project, MVP ASAP. And we may not have ties with health insurance companies, but we do have very strong ties with state legislators.
Yeah, I did
And
notice a couple of
that's,
those.
to have programs like yours accepted, supposedly our new governor is going to make it a priority.
Right,
So,
I've been following myself.
yeah, so we're kind of hoping that any kind of recovery that's offered will get the support of, be it Mass Health or whatever program, whatever kind of insurance they're on. So I don't think it's too far-fetched in the near future to, hopefully see any kind of treatment that's feasible, getting some subsidizing. So I hope so anyway.
Yeah, sounds good. I like
Yes.
it.
I don't know. You do. So you do have, obviously, you have groups coming in to see you, all right? Now, you just, like I said, we're going to use these two young ladies as an example. How did they come from their detox to you?
Geez, that's it. It happens all different ways. My good friend Kayla over there was at my office door when I showed up for work.
Okay.
Because a friend of mine who was homeless at the time and living in the shelter, her and her boyfriend had come to Lowell, kind of indirectly because they wanted some treatment for heroin addiction from where they were from. And so that's one way. Another way is they might hear about me through the Smart Recovery meetings that
Okay.
I facilitate, and then they chase me down after the fact. I've also been involved with the 12-step model since I
Okay,
got
now
sober in
this smart
97.
recovery meetings, that is something out of the Lowell House or?
No,
No.
this is a 501c3 international organization,
okay.
much like the 12-step models.
Okay.
And they're expanding, but they're new to the.
They are new because
Yeah, 15 years new,
Yep.
really, and that might sound like a lot, but even if you
Well, I'm
look
going
at-
to take a wild guess. They also have a website?
Yes.
Okay.
Smartrecovery.org.
Okay. Got that, girls? They're good.
Yes. Smartrecovery.org.
Smartrecovery.org. Okay, because a lot of people, like you said, you tried one way, it didn't work. You try another way, maybe it does, and so
Right.
forth like that. To me, as long as you keep trying,
Yeah.
hopefully it's going to click.
I tried to pull what I thought were the biggest treatment factors of the two different approaches, and that's how I formed the ARMOR program. I looked at what it was. I was interested in why people would go to one versus another.
Okay.
My assumption in the beginning of my research was that one group of people are more spiritual than the other.
Yes.
That didn't turn out to be the case at all. My
really?
first interview with a Smart Recovery person was actually a woman who attends church every Sunday, and it's like, well, how come? She said, well, I always felt more depressed when I went to a 12-step meeting because they talked a lot about the tragedy and the drama and she didn't like the holding hands,
Okay. Well, tell me.
which was interesting because at church you can,
Well, all right. So if the traditional 12-step is obviously, sharing your story and so forth, how does that differ from
Oh,
your
it's-
meeting on a smart recovery?
what we do in the Smart Recovery is we talk about how we abstain from our addiction, the challenges that we have, and it's an open discussion forum.
Oh, okay.
Instead of a speaker discussion
Right,
forum.
right.
And they have, 12-step has that as well, open discussion
Yeah.
forums. But the way we do it is a raise a hand. And the facilitator is kind of like a chairperson in a 12-step model, but keeps the focus so that the discussion doesn't wander off. It stays focused on addiction.
Okay.
Addiction remission, and how that process comes about. So the conversations, they can really go off onto tangents, but then as a good facilitator, you draw them back in. And
So it's up for Trevor to reel them in.
yes, and this is what he's in the process of learning right
Yes.
now.
Now, tell me something. Now, I notice he's young, and I notice the two young ladies over there are very young. Is it usually I just got 3 minutes. Very quickly, are most of your people coming in of the younger age, newer?
The opiate, the alcoholics are still usually 35, 40 years old.
Okay.
And the opiate addicts are coming in anywhere between 20 and 30.
Yeah.
For the
That's when
most
they're
part.
coming into treatment.
Right, that's how I'm seeing. That's how they're getting to my door.
Right.
When I was using, like, when I was like maybe 18 or 19, even then, what, 2-3 years ago, it's people were younger and younger. I was running into
yeah,
people
yeah.
15, 14 years old
Yeah.
trying it, and it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know what it looked like or know what I didn't know anything when I was young.
Yeah, I'm
So-
saying, because the show we did just before this, there was a kid come in here, well, kid, but he started snorting heroin at 12.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to make sure I get your credits up there. Now, your program,
The Armor program,
and that's the website of what?
treatingaddiction.com.
Okay, so you got that, folks, treatingaddiction.com. We'll hook you up with the doc here, and smartrecovery.org.
Yes.
All right, look into that, do a little research on it, because addiction is something that unfortunately is not slowing down, and maybe what may not be good for you here might be good for there. Any way you can get into a program, any way you can start your recovery, maybe I can have you sitting here with Trevor and be facilitating the next Smart Recovery meeting.
Possible, really.
And,
anything is.
and Phil, it doesn't have to be a this or that.
Right.
Put them all together.
Yeah.
Use a salad. Go to Smart Recovery. Go to the 12-step meetings. Go to lots of meetings.
Yeah.
Build your social network of people who are doing what you want to do. And
Yeah,
that's,
that's
how
right.
you do this.
It's surrounding yourself with a whole new type of. Guys, I
Thanks for
knew a
having
half
us.
hour would go by fast.
Thanks for having us.
I do thank you for introducing types of recovery that I really just had heard bits and pieces about. I'll probably check out the website myself now. I wish you all the best. Not just being a facilitator, but in your journey in recovery that we know lasts a long time, and I commend you for
Thank you very
finding
much.
the light at a very early age. I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, me too.
You girls in the back, I'd like to see you on this couch maybe in a few months and tell me how you're doing in Smart Recovery too. Folks, for the empty chair, I'd like to thank you for joining us, and again, thank our guests.
Thank you, Phil.
It was really good meeting you guys, and we'll see you again next month. Thank you so much for joining us.